Good morning, everyone. This is Source Codex Jazz Fusion Guy. We're getting ready to have our deck repainted. So you can see some of the repairs, some Bondo work, and some trial colors that we have selected for the deck. But this video is not about the deck or the railings. This video is about these toppers that, I thought these just don't look right to me. Something is off about them. And a few months ago, when I was tooling around at the base of the deck on the outside where the plants were, I discovered a topper that looked like this. And I said, well, so that's what they're supposed to look like. So this is about how do you take a top that looks like that and getting it to look like this. Okay, here we are back in the shop. There are a few essentials that you're going to need. Of course, here's the post topper that's supposed to be brass. I'm taking some 240 grit, an orbital sander. When I'm done with the orbital sander, I hit it with some BRASSO and polish it, apply it with this kind of rag, and then polish it up with a paper towel. And you will see the results in just a few moments. Okay, after probably about 2 or 3 minutes, we are starting to get down to the nice brass tint. One thing I noticed in working with these is these are not solid brass. There is another metal, and they kind of have a brass coating, and you'll see some silver underneath. This is inevitable, but it's going to look a lot better than that. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, the toppers for these posts are a brass coating on top of another metal underneath. And you see, I got it a lot cleaner than how this looked, the degradation over time. But from the distance, once these are polished with some BRASSO, and then I've got a clear glaze sealant that I'm going to spray over them to keep them from degenerating as quickly as these did. And these things are probably about 30 years old. But anyway, it's going to look good. One thing I wanted to mention is trying to get this grime and deterioration of age, it's going to wear out your pads pretty quickly. And when it looks like this, there's not going to be much abrasive power left. You're just going to be throwing as much crap back onto the metal as you're trying to take off. So I would say, if you've like me and you've got 14 of these that you have to do, I'm on my last piece of sandpaper here, this 240 grit, and I'm going to wind up heading back to Lowe's before this project is over. So get yourself, I would say 5 or 6 of these for a project where you're going to be cleaning up 14 or 15 or maybe more, because this stuff gums up your orbital sander paper quite quickly. And if you want, like, this is relatively new piece. Once this sort of wears out, it almost essentially turns into a higher grit paper, so to speak, like 340 or something, or 320, and it'll be okay for some fine abrasive work. But for initially starting out and getting this stuff off, you're going to need a fresh piece. All right, let me get back at it. Well, it's not perfect, but you know what? I can live with it. With a good BRASSO polish, and then that clear, shiny coat sprayed on top of it, we're good to go. In my opinion, that sure looks a whole lot better than that. And I'll pretty much end this video with a few still pictures of the process and the final result. And for those of you who might be curious, that wonderful music playing in the background is PFM, otherwise known as Premiata Forneria Marconi, and this is their release, Chocolate Kings. There's nothing like doing work to prog rock. Amen. Well, this is the last 4 of the items. Here they are with the dried BRASSO on them. I'll be polishing them up in a few minutes and putting them out on the post, spraying them with the clear cover lacquer. And even though I said I'd put a bunch of still images up on the last segment of the video, I am going to do another overlook of the finished product and a review of some of the items that you will need. Well, I'm all finished. All 16 of these guys have now been sanded down and sealed using Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Gloss Clear. Seals, protects, and revitalizes. So this ought to keep these guys from going bad. I'm pretty pleased overall with how they turned out. Took several hours, a lot of sandpaper. I will go back in just a minute and show you the exact grits that I used, and that'll be the end of the video. So for the job, I recommend you wear gloves while you're working. Keeps a lot of gunk off, and the BRASSO and just the sanding particles. Get yourself a nice orbital sander. The 2 grits that I used were 120 to get down through the hard stuff, and 240 or 220 would work to do maybe your final bit. And after you're down to the bare metal and the oxidation is gone, I recommend you use BRASSO. And then, like I had mentioned earlier, the sealant, the Rust-Oleum Clear sealant. Now, I've been having so much fun with my orbital sander, I decided to give this old vise a little bit of treatment. I'm not done, but anyway, I'll add some still pictures at the end of this video. This is Source Code XTS Fusion Guy signing off with another how-to video.